we don't use it.
So you haven't used it all weekend?
I'm antisocial.
So you don't use it? You didn't use it or you used it all weekend?
I tell you.
Because you're antisocial?
Yeah, people scare me.
So did you finish that,
Big yellow packet.
There we go.
Okay. Before you leave, remind me to collect the blue bell ringer sheet, and I'll check in your homework that was due that day too. Okay, so we are gonna kind of build off of what we did last week. Last Friday was kind of just like a day to review the graphing because I always find errors with people's graphing. So I wanted to see how you guys did that. So if you did not turn that in, make sure you do turn it in.
this one?
The purple one, yes, sorry. The purple one I will collect. And then also that homework that was due on Friday as well, which was day 2. Okay. Actually, maybe I'll go over the homework right now. Let's go over day 2's homework. It looked like this, and see how you did on it. It was only 4 questions. I'm pretty sure you finished before you left, almost all of you, if you were here that day. If you were not here that day, make sure you go ahead and check that. Get it from the bin. It's only 4 questions. This is from Thursday. I was not here Friday, so it's been a while since then. So just check and see how you did. Does anyone have questions on 1 and 2? I feel like you were doing okay. Remember, keep referring to the transformation, bless you, the notes that we made if you need to, and I'll give you like a little graphic organizer soon on it, but hopefully you, after today and tomorrow, because we're going to be doing it so much the next couple of days, you will have it mastered where you won't even have to look. Okay? I'm going to scroll down to 3, check and see how you did. Any questions on 2 or 3? On how I got something? For the vertex, a lot of people ask me about this one because you didn't move left or right. The only time you move left or right is if you have a parentheses squared. Something like that. Yes? Mm-hmm. So like number 2, how it had the parentheses squared, we moved right for. But we didn't have that here, so we don't move left or right. We just move up. Okay, same thing with 4, except for it's the opposite. We don't have anything out here. We don't have like +5 or +6 or -6. So we're just moving left now, and we're not moving up or down anything. Okay, so you will get better. We already spent a lot of time today. We're going to be doing things like this, and the next day, like the next couple of days, it's going to be incorporating it all. So it will build. Any questions, comments, or concerns about this homework? It was only 4 questions. What? Okay, it is online if you need it, if you want to keep checking your answers. Okay, let's flip to this. Let's see if you remember. Try not to go back to your day, the day before notes. So this plus or minus. So if there's a negative sign all the way out in front, if it's positive, it's opening up. If it's negative, it's opening down. So I'm going to kind of just reiterate what we already talked about. What is the negative? What's the transformation? What does this mean? I know it's going down, but what do we call that in transformation terms? When you look in the mirror?
Reflection.
Yeah, reflection. So reflect over the x-axis. Okay, so if you see a negative all the way out in front, it should be concave down or reflecting over the x-axis is what that means. So right away, if you look at 1 through 3, they're all concave up. There's no negative in front. There's no negative out in front. There's no negative out in front. That's something that you should be able to establish pretty quickly if it's opening up or down. Okay? Probably the easiest one of all of them. A. This A represents if you're stretching or compressing. So remember, if A is bigger than 1, it's going to stretch. And if A is less than 1, it's going to compress. Remember, stretch is if I took you and I stretched you out, and compress is if I squished you down. Okay, so like if you get 1/2, if 1/2 is all the way out in front, then you're going to go ahead and compress. Now again, if you were to look at 1 through 3, there's nothing out here, so we're not doing either of them. Number 2, there's nothing out in front, we're not doing it. Number 3, there's a 2. which means we're stretching. So being able to just recognize it pretty quickly will become a lot easier for you soon. Okay, this H is the one that usually confuses people because it's always the opposite of what you think. It's originally negative, which means if it's originally negative, we're going to go right if it is negative, and we're going to go left if it's positive. Just kind of re-going over it. The more you write it out and the more that you think about it, the faster you'll memorize it. And then the last one out here, if it's positive, we're going up. If it's negative, we're going down. Okay, so just make sure you have all that in there. And I will give you something like a little card or something that you can refer to when you're doing your homework. But hopefully you won't have to refer to it that much. Okay, before we actually do the graphing part, I want to talk about the vertex. So this is actually called vertex form. It's in vertex form when we have this H and this K here. Vertex form means if you just look at the function, you can tell me what the vertex is. This H will be that X value of your vertex, and the K is going to be that Y value. So if you want to write off to the side, your vertex is H comma K. It's that ordered pair. So what I'm going to do is go through all of these and just do the vertex, because on Thursday I kind of taught you guys use your transformations to figure out the vertex. Now I'm going to switch it on you and say use your function to find the vertex. I mean, you can still use your transformations to find it, but I want you to be able to just look at it and tell me what the vertex is. So I'm going to write it out for you. Right here is your H, and right here is your K. There is no K. If there is no K, it's 0, technically. H, it's negative, so it is what it is. So our vertex here is going to be 4, comma 0. Because here's the 4. If it's negative, it stayed the same. If it's positive, it changed signs on us. Okay? So here, again, H is going to be here, and here's going to be K. There's nothing inside the parentheses to give you H. If you look, there's nothing like this to give you H. So what is our X value of the vertex? 0. And what about our Y value? What's the K? Negative 5. Very good. So I'm just trying to give you practice on like just looking at it and telling me. What about number 3? Careful, because look, originally we're negative. If you look up here, it changed to positive, which means that it's a negative number. So here's our H and here's our K. Who thinks they know the vertex? It is negative 1, 0. Very good. Because it changed signs on us. Because according to vertex form, if you look, it's originally negative. If it changes to positive, it's got to be a negative number. Let's look at 4, 5, and 6. Okay, 4. Here's our H, and here's our K. Who thinks they know this one? Go ahead.
Negative 3, 7.
It is negative 3, 7. Very good. Try 5 and 6. And just getting used to this vertex form. Who thinks they know 5? I know you know it. What you got over there? I can see you kind of wanting to do it.
I don't know if that's right.
Just let me know.
1 to 0. They're flipped.
Flipped. 0, 1. Very close. Good job. So if you take a look here, it always goes H, then K. There is no H. H will always be inside a parenthesis. Always. So if there's no parentheses, it's at 0. And then K will be all the way out here, not in parentheses. What about number 6? It's a little bit easier when there is parentheses. I know someone's got it. What'd you say?
-5.
Yeah.
And then -6.
Yeah, there you go. So there are 2 ways to find the vertex. By just looking at it, like we just did, or what we learned on Thursday where we do like, oh, it's going left 5, down 6, and we figure out what it is. Either one's fine with me. I just want you to know that there's different ways. I like to just know the formula and kind of like be able to look at it. Now let's go back and look at the transformations of this guy. If you look, there's nothing out front, so we're not reflecting, stretching, or compressing. There's nothing out there. But there's something in here. What is that? Tell me it's doing. What does that 4 do? Based off of our transformations up here.
It's right or left.
Yeah, and which one is it?
See, it's up or left.
Careful.
Or no, right.
Right. And here's how you can tell that. Look, you told me your vertex was at 4, 0. It's at 4, 0. That's positive. You're going right. Okay? So that kind of could help you here. Now that you know your vertex, you might not even need to look at your function. Look, I'm not going left or right anything, but I am going down 5. So that already is telling you what you're doing based off your vertex. So all we're doing for this next one is down 5. Now this next part, you have your 2 out in front and you have the positive 1. What does the 2 represent all the way out in front?
If it reflects.
That's if it's positive or negative. It's positive, so we're good. What does the 2 mean?
Oh, if it stretches or compresses.
Yeah, and which one? If it's bigger than 1.
So it stretches.
It's going to stretch. Very good. So we're going to stretch by 2. Now, remember that one of the parentheses is always the one that people get confused on. It says positive 1. But remember, we're originally negative. So are we moving left or right 1? Left or right 1?
Left.
Careful. Left 1. And here's why. Look at your vertex. Your vertex is negative 1, 0. So if I'm negative 1, that means I'm going to be moving to the left side. Also, right here it tells you that plus 1, it changes the sign. So it's got to be a negative 1. That is always the one that people get wrong. So do not feel bad. You will get better at it as you go. But the one inside the parentheses is always the opposite of what you think it is. Positive 1, you think it goes right, but based off the formula, it's telling us it's going left. Okay, so this next one, we got a couple things going on here. We have a negative 1, we have a positive 3, and we have a positive 7. So there's 3 transformations here. The negative tells us what?
That it's going left. Compressing.
All the way out in front.
And then it reflects.
It reflects. Okay, so remember I told you guys earlier that the negative in front is going to tell you if you're going up or down, but the transformation technically is called a reflection. Reflect. You will get better, I promise, over the x-axis. And if you need to refer to what we wrote above for a little bit, that's okay until you have it down, because we're going to take a couple days on that too. The 3, the one, this is always a trickster. What do you guys think? Left or right? I think I heard it. Left. Left. 3. What about the positive 7, the easiest one, I think? All the way out there. Up 7. That's the weirdest thing ever. Up 7. So I'm trying to do the same thing over and over again with some repetition here. Okay, looking at this next one. I have no negative sign, so I'm concave up. And I'm not reflecting. But the 1/2 means something, and then the plus 1 means something. What does the 1/2 mean? Good, compress. Ooh, that's a weird sound. And then what does the 1 mean? It's not in parentheses, it's out. It's out of the parentheses.
Up 1.
Yeah, up 1. Oops, I just moved it on me. Up 1. Getting you really a lot of practice on this transformation. I want you to try 6. Just tell me the transformations. You should be able to count them. There's 1, there's 2, and there's 3. There should be 3 transformations. 3 transformations. Give it a try and see how you do. When you're done and done, only look up. Please don't copy. Try it on your own first. You guys did okay on that. You did good? Good. He's so excited to learn math. All right. Stretch by 3, left 5, down 6. Stretch by 3 all the way out in front. Left 5 because the guy in the parentheses, and down by 6 for the guy all the way on the outside. Okay, now let's talk about graphing these. We already have so much going on here. So we already know our vertex, so we're only going to do like 2 graphs, and then we'll go to the back page. Because that was really the main focus of this front page was this part. Okay, so vertex is at 4, 0, so I'm going to go ahead and graph that right there. I told you guys on Thursday, you guys can put it in your calculator and find out what the other points are. However, I do want you guys just to use your brain for notes and not always rely on the calculator. So I always put my vertex right in the middle. And then I pick 2 points below or above it. Let's do 3, 2, and then, oops, sorry, that's supposed to be 5, 6. 5, 6, 2, and 3. Okay, you really only need to do one of these. Because once you find these 2, you can find the other. Because they're the same. They're reflection. They're symmetrical. So, in your head, in your brain, you could write out if you want. Plug in 3. I'm going to take this 3, and here I go. I'm plugging it in for x. 3 minus 4.
1.
Negative 1, right? But then, you're going to be right here in a second. What's negative 1 squared, which really means negative 1 times negative 1? 1. Okay, so we're going to plug that in. So just using your brain, even if you're not saying it out loud, even if you're doing it in your head as I go, that's fine. Just trying to get your brain to be active here. Taking the 2 and plugging it in. 2 minus 4.
-2.
Good. Now negative 2 squared, which really means negative 2 times negative 2.
2. 4.
4. Very good. And now what's great about this is that they are reflective. Sorry, symmetric. I keep saying reflective. Which means that they just mirror each other. So we can go ahead and graph that. So we got 3. Careful on this. It's a weird graph. I need to change this for next year. It's going to be like right in the middle like that. And then we have 6 up 4. 2 up 4. Going to look like that. Okay, so just practicing plugging it in. That is something you might not have to graph on the SAT or the AccuPacer, but you will have to do orders of operations, which is just plugging in a number or things like that. So getting that practice is what's important about it. Let's just graph one more just to challenge your brain a little bit, and then we'll go to the back page and quickly do that too. Because the back page is pretty quick. Let's see which one I want to do next. Let's do
Number
4. So again, we're going to do x, y. We're going to make our own chart if there is none. I have negative 3 and 7 goes in the middle because that's my vertex. So I'm going to pick 2 numbers below it and above it. So negative 4, negative 5. And then above it, bigger numbers, is negative 2 and negative 1. I hate that. Okay, let's give it a go. I'm going to use these 2 because they're smaller, and I think smaller numbers are easier to do simple math in. So I'm going to take 2, negative 2, and plug it in. So here we go. Negative 2 plus 3.
1.
-1.
It's going to be 1, negative 2. But you're about to be right in a second, because when you plug that in, you get 1. What's 1 squared? 1 times a negative
-1.
plus 7. Negative 1 plus 7. Or you can flip it.
6.
6. Or you can think of it as 7 minus 1, which is just 6. Let's try it again. See if you can follow. You always do here first, then what's out here, and then what's out here. Okay, so negative 1. So I have negative 1 plus 3,
2.
and then square it.
5.
Square it. 4. Okay, so I have negative 4 plus 7.
3.
3. Good. Okay, so take your time. Obviously, you can use your credit card. Oh my God, what is going on? Your calculator, but just doing this with me in class is making you better. Remember, it reflects, is symmetrical. So let's go ahead and graph that, and we'll call it a day. Well, we're gonna flip to the back page and then call it a day. So now I have negative 3 down 7, which is like really weird dot right in the middle there. And then I have negative 2 Did I do something wrong? Negative 3. Oh my god, I went wrong way. Negative 3 up 7. Psh. I was like, wait, something's wrong. Okay, negative 2, 6. That's mirrored right there. And then negative 1, 3. Again, sorry for these small graphs. Hopefully. Okay, so again, negative in front, down. If it's not negative, it's going up. All right, flip to the back page when you're ready. We're only going to do one, then you can do one for your homework. And there's only 4 questions in the homework, so you should be able to finish it before you leave. Okay. For the following problem, describe the transformation, which you'll have to do on the homework. So tell me what's going on. Left, right, up, down. Graph 5 points, so what we just did. And then generate the table. So let's talk about the transformations first. What's going on? I have this out in front, I have this negative 1, and I have a positive 3. What does a negative out in front tell me? Reflect. Reflect over the x-axis. Like I said, I know it's a pain to write all that out, but there will be a time where it reflects over the y, so it's important to know that the negative next to the equal sign means that. In blue, what do you think?
Right 1.
Good, right? 1. And then what about the one in purple? Up 3. Very good. Okay, so the negative out in front tells us if it's up or down, so we can assume that this is going to be concave down. Okay, can anyone tell me my vertex? I'm just going to kind of write this right here just because. It is 1, 3. Good job. And I'm going to write that right in the middle. You could have either established that from your transformations or the formula 1, 3 right there. That means I'm going to go 2 below, which is 0, negative 1, and then 2 above, 2, 3. And we're going to go ahead and try it in our heads first. And then on your homework, you can choose to do it in your head or you can choose to do it in the calculator. It's kind of what you feel like you need practice with. All right, here we go. I'm going to write like the workout for you in case you want to actually give it a go in your head. So I'm going to write this one out. So I'm going to plug in g of 0, which is really, remember, you're plugging in 0. That's all it means. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and put in the negative. That 0 that we just talked about over here, that's what I'm talking about. 0 minus 1 squared plus 3. So you could either put it in your head, you can put it in your calculator, or your graphing calculator could tell you it too. But here we go. 0 minus 1 is negative 1. What's negative 1 squared? 1. Then out here it tells me I must add a negative to that. So really it's negative 1 plus 3. 2. So 2 is going to go here, and it's also going to go there. So I would really like you guys to give it a go. Try your best, and then maybe check your answers with the calculator. There's only 4 questions in the homework, so you will have enough time to see if you're getting it right. Okay. Plugging in negative 1. So here we go. In red, I plug in that negative 1 minus 1. Everything else is just part of the formula that's given to you up here. So here we go. Negative 1 minus 1.
Negative 2.
Squared.
4.
Add the negative. So negative 4 plus 3.
Negative 1.
Negative 1. Very good. And then go ahead and graph it. So 1 up 3 is about right here. It's a weird point. I'm sorry. And then 0, 2, 1, 3, 1. Did I mess something up, didn't I? Okay. 1 up 3 is here. Nope, I had it right. Okay. And then negative 1. Negative 1. I hate these graphs. I will fix this for next year. Sorry, guys. Something like that. And then it asks you, does your graph match the transformation? It does. And here's why. Look, does it look like it reflected down? Yes. Does it look like it moved to the right? It does. Look at it. It's a little bit to the right here. You have to look at your vertex point and see kind of what you think. And does it look like it moved up? It does. Okay, so being able to recognize that might help you. All right, do the next one and you get your homework. It's only 4 questions. You have to draw your own table on it. If you need to use the back for work, use the back. There's no back on the homework. If you want to just do it in the calculator, that's fine with me. I'm just really trying to push you guys and give it a go first without. It's only going to help you in the long run. Only going to help you in the long run to push for extra work now. So you're doing this next one, and then once you finish, let me know, and I'll give you your homework. If you want to work with someone, you're more than happy to do that. You're more than welcome to do that.